is Sage Lewis from Web Marketing Watch, and today I am with my partner, Rocky Lewis. Hey, Rocco.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great.
Good. I don't know if you know this, but Rocky is a longtime expert in writing for the web. She was the reason we got into search marketing in the first place, because she's been a writer. She wrote at some major trade publications in her past life and has always been a major writer here at SageRock, and she does a lot of web marketing writing. And I don't know if you know this, but writing for the search engines and for the web is distinctly different than writing for your print publication. So, Rocco, can you tell me like 3 of the most important aspects of writing for the web, not the search engines, but like when you're sitting down and crafting something for the web, what are the 3 most important things you like to think about?
Okay, it's got to be concise, it's got to be scannable, and it has to be brief.
So when you're writing for print, you don't write like that typically, right? You're writing in blocks, paragraph blocks.
Right, right.
And in online, you advocate not writing that way.
Yeah, yeah. And so the whole like newspaper inverted triangle type of writing style doesn't work online. And I like the most poignant thing that I think is interesting anyway about writing online is that the headlines are, unlike newspaper writing or even magazine writing or press release writing even, the headlines can't be teasers. They have to be completely informative summaries of what's underneath because of the scannability issue. And that's like, even people who really write well for the web, I think, miss that important point, which is that your headline cannot be a teaser. It can't be like, ooh, read this paragraph. It has to actually be a summation of what's underneath, because a lot of times people will just read that and move on.
Really?
Yeah, so you have to identify that the following paragraph is about the headline, and that way if they want to read that, they can
really
drill down for it. I think that's the biggest mistake I see, even among people who know how to write for the web.
Yeah. So what would you say with people that are like, well, you know, in order to get more people to link to my articles, I need these flashy, catchy, meaningless almost headlines. How do you respond to something like that?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on whether the headline is for a blog or an article or an actual piece of permanent content on your website. So if it's a blog article, catchy's fine.
Yeah.
Catchy's fine, although I might stay away from that slightly. But I guess I'm talking about the content on your actual website.
I see. So you're writing about your services, for example.
Right.
And so in our industry, you would say, like, say you're talking about our search engine optimization. Like, what would a good potential headline for that service be?
Oh, let's see. So it would be the 5 things you should know about search SEO services, SageRock SEO services.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very clear what they're going to see next.
Right.
And then instead of going into like a paragraph form,
right,
you would probably advocate doing some bullet points of those 5 services.
Totally scannable. So you could just like, oh, there's 5 services. You could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if you wanted more information, it would be there. Either, you know, if it's taking up too much space, the information is a big gray block, then you would have just maybe the first sentence with a link to something more. But, you know, if you could keep each descriptor down to like 2 or 3 sentences, you could probably put them all on that page.
Yeah, but if they're longer, then maybe you should link off to them to their own page.
Definitely, definitely.
And again, you would keep this scannability going, right? You advocate trying to stay away from the block.
Right.
As much as possible.
As much as possible, yeah. I think you can get blockier as you drill down through a website, because the more people will drill down, the more information they're obviously looking for. So I think, you know, at the high level pages, you keep it really crazy scannable. And then as you drill down, you can add more and more text until finally, you know, I mean, they can be reading white papers once you get to the 4th or 5th level. I think that's fine, because those people want that information.
Yes.
But initially, you want to stay away from presenting that much to just the average reader, I guess.
Yeah. So reduce fluff, maybe. Like more function, less form, perhaps.
Yeah.
Just boil it down and be as concise and as factual as possible, because people aren't reading, at least initially, big, huge blocks of paragraphs.
Right, nuts and bolts stuff.
Yeah, nuts and bolts. And be very clear about what they're going to see next.
Right. Hold their hand.
Hold their hand.
Hold their hand. And be sure and tell them what you want them to know. I mean, don't forget that. I mean, a lot of times when people write online, they forget that their website is a vehicle of a most wanted response, right? I mean, whether it's to make a sale or to educate someone about something. I mean, there should be a call to action and a theme with everything you write. And so you want to lead people through the website. You want them to do what you want them to do. So while it's very important to think of the user and what they want, don't forget that you want something too, and you can use your writing to influence the user and what they do on the website.
Yeah.
So.
Very interesting. All right, I don't think people think about this kind of stuff enough.
Content is very secondhand.
A lot of times you get the writers that have written your brochures, written your all of your other print material, and you're like, well, you can write my content for my web.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is you need to be thinking differently when you're writing for the web.
You do.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this whole universe is causing change and disruption. But you have to understand it. You have to know what your visitors want, because ultimately, you're not putting this website out there to just be some fancy glitzy ornament on the top of your web marketing pie. This thing is driving sales.
An ornament on a pie.
Yeah, that's how I like to make my pies.
Don't mix your metaphors in your web content writing. It's very amateurish.
Just in your video blogging. All right, Rocky, thanks so much for your information and expertise. All right, everybody, this is Sage Lewis from Web Marketing Watch, and happy